When a person passes, we strive to remember them exactly as they were.
Lester was here the night he died. It was no tragic accident. We need to find Nicky Ketchamelios.
Oh, Lester, a man who seemed to have a heart of gold and filled with joy while serving as the doorman. But Lester appears to have a past that tied him to the mob, or at least to Nicky Ketchamelios, who pretended to be a mobster, as it appears appearances aren't as they seem. We open just 4 days after Oliver's beautiful, chaotic wedding as our favorite trio is gathered together, seemingly trying to enjoy some leftover shrimp. As Oliver is tearing apart the less than stellar obituary for the recently deceased Lester. Now, the official word was an accident, according to the police report, but come on, this is the murder building. Accident is practically code for future murder podcast material. Now, if I'm being honest, this sounds like there may be a cover-up going on early on this season. Knowing that we're dealing with the mafia and politicians based on what I saw from the trailer, it's safe to assume that maybe there will be more police corruption going on this time around this season. Howard, the ever-loyal friend and apparently a lonely one with Jonathan off on tour and his animals otherwise engaged, pops in looking to share some gossip. As Charles mentions the odd request by Lester to be laid and stayed in the lobby, and here's where things get really interesting. Howard brings up the security footage, and apparently, even against our trio's natural suspicions, it appears that Lester's death was indeed accidental. Now, we know our Mabel, 5 seasons in, she has that gut feeling, right? It's never wrong. She's not buying this accidental death for 1 second. But Oliver, on the other hand, he's fresh off his wedding, basking in the newlywed glow, and frankly, he's ready to put the murder podcast on pause if it means he gets more attention from his new wife. As Oliver's going on and on about wanting a normal life, and boom, Mabel and Charles point out, pun intended, that Oliver was just about to put someone's severed finger into his mouth, and just like that, we are back in action. Welcome back, everybody. I am just beyond excited to be covering this show for the 5th time, and it is crazy to think that I'm here covering this premiere episode of Season 5. Yes, Season 5 of Only Murders in the Building, Episode 1, titled Nail in the Coffin. There is so much to discuss about this episode, so go ahead and grab your red wine and your magnifying glass, and let's try to solve this season's murders. Full spoilers ahead. We see Mabel, the detective, instinctively snatching the finger, and a quick examination reveals a rather suspicious green fungus on the nail. As Charles, drawing on his vast cinematic knowledge, suggests it's a message like a horse head in a bed. And Oliver, ever dramatic, agrees, declaring it's a very mobby situation, this immediately sparking a memory for Mabel. Sophia Ketchamelios. Remember her, the mob wife they met in last season's finale who asked them to help find her missing husband Nicky? As Mabel fills Oliver in on the conversation she and Charles had with her, and after exchanging Marlon Brando impersonations, it's clear. First stop, confirm if the finger belongs to Lester as they go down to the lobby. The lobby is a whole new playground of characters. We meet Randall, the new doorman, who apparently played bass at Oliver's wedding and holds Lester's very detailed ledger. We also meet Lester's wife, Lorraine, for the very first time, but the real surprise is Mayor Tillman. He gives a speech despite not knowing Lester, but he loved him because he loves a great doorman. Now, it's clear as day that this is an early campaign stop for him for his upcoming election. I'm betting that the mayor is going to become a recurring thorn in our trio side this season, consistently trying to pull them into his political orbit, especially after Charles politely declined an endorsement request for the podcast. After what we found out from last season of the importance of this building and what's going on so far, it's very clear that the building feels like an epicenter for a major power vacuum, and I think the mayor wants in. Now, checking for a missing finger on Lester isn't easy, as his arms aren't positioned across his chest. Now, that leaves Charles tasked with the not-so-discreet retcon as he awkwardly tries to sneak a peek of if this missing finger belongs to Lester, all while Mabel and Oliver create a distraction. Now, in the conversation, Oliver learns that Lester apparently called him a cuckoo chick and also a taker, which has a meaning to what happens later with Oliver in this episode. Now, unfortunately, no fun Uma spots Charles' not so subtle inspection of Lester's hands, getting everyone's attention, which caused this mission to be failed. Now, back in Mabel's newly leveled up apartment, the trio regroup. Oliver, forgetting a picture for Lester's wake, pulls out a blurry photo from his wedding, and that's when Mabel catches it. She finds Lester speaking with no other than Nikki Ketchamelios at the wedding. But the thing is, Nikki was reported missing. It's never too early to jump to conclusions with our team, as their now working theory is that Lester was involved with the mob and got mixed up with the mob boss Nikki, and it led to his death, as this leads to a road trip to Staten Island to visit Sophia. Now, before heading out, Oliver isn't thrilled about messing with the mob again, as he talks about this tale that happened back in the 80s where he had to borrow $400 from the mob.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. It's a miracle he's not ass up in the East River. But now I am a newly wedded man with a ring finger to protect, so Oliver Putnam is staying put here.
But FOMO wins, and he joins them as they come face to face with the Ketchamelios family. As they pull up to a house from The Godfather, it's time to get some answers without pissing off the mob and not ending up like Lester. Now inside, they're introduced to Johnny, Tony, Mikey, Vinny, and Braylon as these mobsters tell a story about disrespecting the family, trying to intimidate our trio. Now, one of the brothers pulls out a gun, but it's all an act as we find out that they're just wannabes singing their podcast theme song, I'm Talking Here. Now, Sophia finally arrives home and drops a news flash, and that's that the mob is dead, and they have been dead for a while now.
The mob is dead. Why should we believe you?
Well, for one, if the mob was still alive, then why are my adult sons podcasting about mob activity in the 70s? Because that was the last time there was anything to talk about.
Nikki, she explains, wasn't involved in criminal activity with Lester. They were just the owners of Cleanups, the dry cleaning company in the building, the same one we've seen since season 1. As Nikki is apparently a failed mobster trying to keep it a secret. For now, Sophia claims the finger isn't her husband and sends the trio on their way. But not before a private conversation with Charles. Our man unleashes the Charles swagger, as Oliver calls it, and Sophia reveals they're on the verge of losing everything. And Charles, ever the hero, agrees to find Nikki, but under one condition. If Nikki killed Lester, the deal is off. As she hands him a deck of cards Nikki always carried with him, except for the day that he went missing. Now, later on in the evening in the elevator, Charles shares a moment with Oliver. As Charles explains that Oliver's got a new love, Mabel's got her whole life ahead of her, but Charles feels adrift, like something bad is coming.
You know when you have a Reuben at Katz's Deli and you don't get the heartburn, but you know it's coming?
Now, given his track record dodging death in this series, I'm hoping that Charles is safe, but the writers love to keep us guessing. Now, if you all have been following my breakdowns for a while, you all know that I have a theory that Charles has been targeted since the very beginning, and it is also very apparent since last season that that is true, that someone has been trying to kill Charles since the beginning of the show, and that is definitely one of the biggest mysteries I'm excited to figure out this season. Now back home, Charles investigates the cards, and one of them is magnetic and has a mysterious map on it with the number 62400 on it. Meanwhile, Mabel reviews the camera footage of Lester, noticing strange behavior and a missing chunk of footage around the crime scene. Now, the map they discover leads them through all the security camera blind spots, and following the path, they find a hidden door in a closet leading them to an underground tunnel, as this leads them into a secret casino. Now, the number 62400 is a code opening up another hidden compartment where they find an envelope, the one Nikki gave Lester at the wedding the night that he died. Now, while all this is happening, Oliver's still trying to prove he and Lester were pals despite Lester's wife's comments, as he decides to do a nice gesture, which is to pick up Lester's uniform from the dry cleaners and have the blood removed from his hat. As he makes his way into the cleaners, he discovers a dead body, and that dead body belongs to Nikki Ketchamelios. Another dead body found, and another case to solve in this new season of Only Murders in the Building. So Nikki's dead. The mob boss, or should I say failed mobster rather, is no more. The finger definitely wasn't his, according to his wife, or now his widowed wife, leaving the door open for our boy Charles to play stepdad to her sons. Now, other major reveals in this final moments of this episode was what's in the envelope. Was this dirty money? Could the dry cleaners be a front for money laundering, or does it have any ties with the mayor's up-and-coming campaign? Who killed Nikki, and is it connected to Lester's accident? And with him now dead, does that mean that Charles and Sophia's deal is changed now? This season's already delivering some crazy twists and turns, but the question is, do we have any main suspects to put on our murder board? Now, if history repeats itself, we tend to meet our killers very early on in every single season. So based on that, I'm pretty sure that we might have met our killer in this first episode. Let's start off talking about Mayor Tillman, who I definitely think had something to do with the murder, but I don't think he was directly responsible. Let's talk about Sophia, which to me seems a little bit too obvious, but definitely I have a feeling that she has some secrets that we're going to uncover this season. Now, I doubt that the new doorman Randall is going to have anything to do with this, because based on the trailer of this season, it appears that he's going to die at some point. Which leaves us with Lester's wife, Lorraine. Now, obviously I don't have a ton of evidence to support my case of her being a suspect, but my mind goes to it all having to do with that casino, and maybe she secretly ran it, and maybe the mayor is connected to it, Nikki has something to do with it, and others, including the billionaires that were shown in the trailer, might have some ties as well. Maybe Lester found out that his sweet old wife was involved, and he was gonna get the police involved, but she had him killed as well as Nikki because he just knew too much. Also, we've yet to meet his two kids, May and Frank. Could they have something to do with his murder? Listen, man, check out your boy's track record when it comes to calling out the season's killers. I'm not saying I'm 100%, but I'm pretty damn close. Now, overall, I thought this was a pretty solid premiere episode. Now, they've decided to give us the first 3 episodes on this premiere night, which is the first time since season 1. They typically only give us 2 episodes, so I would imagine that was on purpose to give us like a full experience within the first 3 episodes, just to kind of tell a story. But again, I thought as a solo episode goes that this is a good job of picking up 4 days after the events of season 4 and catching up with our characters. We have some interesting new characters involved this season, and it's always great to see our trio trying to solve a murder yet again. Now again, since they gave us 3 episodes, I thought it would be best to kind of separate these individually. So if you want to hear my thoughts about episodes 2 and 3, you can find those breakdowns in the description of this very video. Now, before we wrap up, I need to know what you all thought of this premiere episode, but more importantly, what are your thoughts, your theories, and your predictions of what we can expect in this season? Who do you think killed Lester and Nikki? What's the significance of the casino? And do you all have any suspicions about the mayor? And also, what about Lester's kids? Alright y'all, I'm about to watch episode 2 and 3 and give you all my thoughts, which again can be found in the description of this video or on the screen now. Thank you all for watching this breakdown, and I'll see you all on episode 2.